Hi everybody, welcome to today's video. My name is Mckenna and I'm going to be your silhouette instructor today. We're so glad that you've joined us on the Silhouette YouTube channel, and today we are going to be learning how to use some vinyl to personalize these cute little Christmas light tumblers for kids. So go ahead and grab all your supplies and let's get crafting along. Alright guys, so as far as supplies goes, this is a very simple, straightforward vinyl craft. So I have some vinyl that I grabbed at one of my local craft stores. It's kind of like this cute iridescent shimmery vinyl that I thought would be kind of fun and festive with these Christmas colors. They're kind of like brighter neon colors, and then also just it's a little bit something different. So you can use whatever vinyl you have, but this one was kind of fun. I've seen them at Michael's and Hobby Lobby. This is the Hobby Lobby one. And then I have some Aura tape, transfer tape. This is my favorite transfer tape for any vinyl crafting. That is what I always use. Then we have a silhouette hook tool, but whatever hook tool you have. And then also we have a silhouette scraper tool. If you don't have a silhouette scraper tool, you can use like a credit card or something like that. And then I just have some scissors here in case I need them. And then lastly, I have my little tumblers. I have a set of 3 right here that I'm going to be demonstrating for you today, but you can use whatever tumblers you have. I got these at Hobby Lobby, but I've seen things like them all over. Walmart, Target, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, any craft store has these Christmas light tumblers. I'm sure you can find them on Amazon too. But these specific ones that I'm using in these bright fluorescent colors are from Hobby Lobby. And so I think these are just going to be super, super cute. We are actually headed out of town for Christmas this year. We're going on a really big trip, like family reunion style trip with my mom's family. And we have a lot of little kids in our family. So even though I only have 3 here today, I'm thinking that I'm actually going to make them for all of the little kids and take them with us on our trip, and then they can use them, reuse them the whole time while we're there, and they'll have a fun little Christmas cup too. So I always like to have my projects kind of like coincide with gifting to people a lot of the time, or just something I have going on in my life. So that is what we're going to be doing today. And I have a couple different designs and fonts that we're going to be using today, but really you can use whatever designs or fonts you want. I'm going to be using some snowflakes on these tumblers, but like I said, you can use whatever you want. I think snowflakes are a good vinyl craft because a lot of the time they're really intricate, so they're really hard to do with paper, but we are going to be using vinyl today, so I'm going to be doing some cute little dainty snowflakes, and then I'm also going to be putting names on them to personalize them. So let's go ahead and jump to the software, and I'll show you guys the designs we're going to be using today. Okay guys, so here I am in my software. I changed a couple things when I opened it up. Right here I had a different machine selected, so I selected that I'm using the Cameo 5, and then I'm also using no cutting mat. I'm going to be cutting matless, so I turned the cutting mat off, and then I changed my media size to 12 by 12 because that is the size of my vinyl that I'm going to be using today. So now I'm just going to come up here to my library, and I'm going to search for my snowflake designs because I have a whole bunch of designs in my library. There's over 1,600 as you can see, so I'm just going to come up here to the search bar and type snowflake. And I have a lot of different snowflakes. I want to use this styled one. I have 3 here in my library that are all by the same designer. So they are by Sweet Elsie, and it's 105349 is the first one. And then the other one I'm going to be using is it's these 2 down here. Or wait, that's the one I just did. So the other one is this one. It's 105349, and then there should be one more in here. Oh, this one. I think this is the one I already said, or 105352. Okay, so hopefully if you missed those ones and you want these same designs, we can put them in the description as well, so that you can grab them. But I'm just going to go ahead and double click those to open all of them in my library. And like I said, these are all by Sweet Elsie. So very cute little snowflake designs. And then I want this one lastly, I think. Yes. But there's a whole lot of snowflakes in the design store. Some of these ones do have small pieces, so keep that in mind. If you don't want to weed any super tiny pieces, maybe you'd want to go with one that like doesn't have any small pieces like this one that we did first, because it's all connected. It doesn't have any pieces to weed away on the inside. Okay guys, so these are our snowflakes we're going to be using. So I'm just going to go ahead and make these a little bit smaller. And how I'm going to be doing this today is I'm actually just going to be putting them all around the tumbler. So they're just going to be sporadic. So I'm just going to cut a whole bunch of them on my sheet of vinyl, and then we're just going to use transfer tape to put them on one by one on our different pieces or on our different tumblers. So I think as far as size goes, I'm going to grab the tumbler. But I think usually, as a rule of thumb, I think about 2 inches to 1.5 inches. This transfer tape has little 1/2 inch squares on the back, so I'm kind of using it as a ruler. So 1, 2, 3 would be 1.5 inches, 4. I think 2 inches is going to be perfect. And you can also vary the sizes if you want. We could do that. We could do some that are like 2 inches and some that are 3 inches. So we have maybe 2 big ones on each one and then fill it in with lots of smaller ones. So I love that idea. So maybe we'll do that. So let's make this one 2 inches. So I just have it clicked, and then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to type 2. And it makes it 2 by 2.297, which, since we're not really worried about the size anyway, it doesn't matter for us today. So then I'm going to make this one, let's make this one 3 inches, and then let's make this one 2 inches as well. Okay, and then I'm going to drag all these over here, and then I'm just going to zoom in with this magnifying glass up at the top with the plus sign. Okay, and then I'm just going to do kind of rows of my different snowflakes. So I'm going to click this one, and then I'm going to hold down my Option key, and that little plus is going to appear on my cursor, and then I'm just going to drag out. And this is just duplicating that snowflake over and over again. And I can fit 5 on there, which I think is going to be perfect. So then I'm just going to distribute them evenly, and then I'm also going to align them in the middle. And then we're going to repeat that with this snowflake. And then we're going to do the exact same things. We're going to distribute them and then, or sorry, not like that. We're going to middle align them, not vertically align them. And then we're going to do this one. Obviously this one we're not going to be able to fit as many, but we're also not going to be able to fit as many on the actual tumbler either. So I'm going to do, I really want to do 2 of these on each one. So I'm going to move them as possibly as close as they can be. I want to fit one more. I don't think we actually can though, because they're 3 inches wide, and this is 12 inches exactly from side to side. So I'm just going to make it a teeny tiny bit smaller. Okay, and then I'm going to do another one of these. And I think we'll start from there, and then if we need some more snowflakes, we can always come back to this page of designs, and we can just put it back on our artboard, and we can just cut another round of snowflakes. But we're going to see where this takes us, and then we can also add some more to our name sheet, because I know our names aren't going to take up the whole thing. So now I just grouped all of those together, so I drew a rectangle over the top of them, and it selects everything, and then I just right-clicked and did group. They're already grouped, so that's not there anymore. But then I can just move all of these as a group over to the side. So now that we can do our names. So for our names, they obviously are going to wrap around the cup a little bit, but since it's rounded, cylinder-ish things can kind of be hard with vinyl if you make them too big. So in that case, I just kind of want it to be about like this big, centrally located on the cup. It's not going to be too big, but it's also not going to be too small. And let's kind of pull out this transfer tape again. If you have a ruler, that's kind of easier, but this is just convenient because it's right here. So it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 squares. So it's going to be about 4.5 inches, which is a good size. We're going to see how tall that is too, because sometimes if you make it a certain width, sometimes it's just not tall enough. So you want to make it a little bit wider, just so it can be a little bit taller as well. So we have, we're going to do the 3 babies in our family. They're not babies. They're about 18 months old, but they're the smallest kids in our family right now. My son is one of them, and he has 2 girl cousins that are one of them's 6 days younger than him, and one of them's about 2 weeks younger than him. So we are going to do Bennett, Millie, and Austin. So we are going to go ahead and type those out right here. We'll just start with Bennett, and then I'm going to do another one, Millie, and then lastly we have Austin, but it's girl Austin, so it's spelled with a Y. And we are going to make these cute little cups for them. And like I said, I'm probably going to go back and get more to make them enough for all the kids. And then we want to use like a fun Christmassy font. And I actually just barely downloaded 2 kind of Christmas fonts from the design store that I'm going to go into my library and show you. So one of them is this Santa Claus one, which I think is super cute and bubbly and would go well with this like vibe of the project. And then the other one is this BFC Christmas cards, and it's super cute too. So I'm going to give you the design IDs for both of these. This one's by Blush Fonts. 386639 is the design ID for Christmas cards. And then Santa Claus is also by Blush Fonts. She makes the cutest fonts, and it's 424264. And I think I want to use the Santa Claus one because this one's like really big and bubbly, and it's going to fill up the tumblers really well. So I'm just going to double click this one. And, oh, but I actually did not have any of my text selected. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to double click the Bennett name, and I'm going to select all of that, and then I can actually just come over here and type Santa Claus. But it actually isn't wanting to pull up, so that's okay. In that case, we just come to our library, and then we just double click the font when we have our text selected. So then we are just going to repeat that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see that again. And I'll go a little bit slower this time. So we have Millie right here. We're going to double click to enter the text box, and then I'm going to do Command A to select all of the text. And then over here in the library, I'm just going to double click Santa Claus font. And then we're going to do it one more time down here in the library, and then double click Santa Claus. And then these are kind of small right now. They're text, so they're 3.7 inches right now, but we want them to be like that 4.5 range like I told you. So I'm going to go ahead and drag them. Let's just make all of them 4.5. I think the only one that's going to be a little bit big for that one is Bennett, so maybe I'll make his a little bit not as wide. And then let's see, we actually want to make these ones a little bit wider because they're shorter names. Okay, and now guys, we can go ahead and add some more snowflakes to this one, since we're going to be cutting it anyway, but we still don't have to use the whole sheet of vinyl if we don't want to. But I'm going to go ahead and ungroup this now. So I have my snowflakes, and I'm just going to right click and select ungroup, and then I'm just going to select a couple of these snowflakes by clicking on them and holding down my shift key, and then holding down that option key until that arrow comes up, and then duplicating these. And I know I want 2 of the big snowflakes on each one, so I'm for sure going to do those. So I have enough of those, and then let's just fill the whole sheet. Let's do some more of these ones up here. Okay, and I think this is great. Now we are going to go ahead and start cutting. So I'm going to go ahead and group this whole sheet together. So I'm going to right click, and I'm going to do group, and then I'm just going to regroup this set together as well. So as you can see, this project really only has 2 cuts each. So we're going to send one sheet that has the names on it and the snowflakes, and then we're going to do one sheet of just pure snowflakes. But after that, we are ready to just weed it and then transfer them on. So it's a really, really easy, fairly quick craft. Even if you're having like a little Christmas party, you could totally just have these snowflakes cut out beforehand, have the kids' names cut out, and you could have them help you add these snowflakes to their tumbler, which would be super fun. I'm all about crafting with kids and letting them help with the craft, so keep that in mind as well. Here today I'm using our Cameo 5 machine, which is one of our new models. It's super awesome. It's so beautiful. I love it. So I'm going to go ahead and slide it up to open it, which is super, super sleek. And then I'm going to turn it towards me a little bit. I already have it turned on. I am using this to cut matless. So to do that, I have my roller moved in so my edge lines up. Well, there's a little arrow on this that you can't see because it's too far away, but there's a little arrow on the very end of this that you want to line up with your second arrow in from the right side. So there's two little tiny arrows that are together, and you're going to click it into those arrows. Hope that makes sense. There's a lot of videos though that show that more up close if you need that. But to load this, I'm just going to load my edge of my vinyl up with this arrow and line on the left side of this, of the machine. And then I'm just going to click my upward arrow, and it pulls it in just really, really soft and really nice. It's super quiet, which I love about it. And now we're going to jump back into our software to the send panel. And down here you can see that our machine is ready to go. If for whatever reason your machine isn't pulling up down there, that's totally fine. Just click this little machine looking icon down here and it will bring up all the machines that you can connect to. So mine is the Cameo 5 down here. And now we just need to change our material that we're using. So last time I was cutting cardstock, so I'm just going to open that window and then type vinyl. And this is a glossy vinyl. And in the past, I've liked bumping my blade depth up to a 2, but actually last time I did that, it cut through deeper than I thought it was going to. So especially with these new models, I would recommend starting with the recommended setting, which makes sense. And then if we need to do another pass, we can go ahead and do another pass. But I'm not going to change any of my settings. I'm just going to come down here to the bottom and click send. Alright guys, so it just finished cutting. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that it cut through. I'm just going to take my hook tool and then try and pull one of those inside of the snowflake out. Okay, and it did cut through. It sticks more than I kind of want it to, but I think that if I cut it again, it would cut through the backing, which I don't want to happen, so we are just going to keep that with that cut setting. So I'm going to unload it by pressing this little downward arrow on the very edge, and then we're going to load the other piece in. Sorry, these pieces of vinyl are sticking to my fingers. Just load it the exact same way. Okay, and then we're going to go back to our design tab, and I'm just going to click this piece that we had and drag it to the side, and then I'm going to drag our snowflake page on, and then go back to the send panel and then just send that. And while that's cutting, the first one kind of took a while to cut just because snowflakes are kind of intricate to cut. So because of that, I'm going to go ahead and get started weeding our other design, just because we can double task or multitask like that. So I'm actually going to start up here. So if your letters stick a little bit, guys, I just recommend using like the rounded part of your hook tool to just kind of push them a little bit. And that's all I had to do to get these to pull a little bit better. This vinyl is super sticky though, I really like it. And then one thing that I like to do as I'm weeding is I like to trim it as we go, since vinyl is super sticky obviously and kind of tends to stick to itself really, really bad. We are just going to cut it as we go so that we don't lose any of our letters or any of our little snowflakes. Okay. And like I said, that just makes it easier for us to be able to do that. And also one thing that can make it easier, instead of having this giant sheet, is we can cut it down so we have smaller pieces. So I'm just taking my sticker or my scissors and just cutting out the names And like I said, sometimes those first ones don't come super, super well, but if you just kind of ease them along with your hook tool, they will come better. And then the rest of the snowflake will peel pretty nicely. But I will say, especially if you're using like an iridescent vinyl like this one, you want to be really careful to not scratch the top of the vinyl, because it does scratch kind of easily. And I think that with our other ones, our other snowflakes, I am going to send them for another pass. This works okay, but I don't want to weed the whole sheet like that. Okay guys, so the other one just finished cutting, but based on how this one is weeding, it's proving a little bit difficult to weed. So I'm actually going to send it for another pass in my software. So I'm just going to open the software and then just click send again without unloading it or anything. And it's just going to cut everything in the exact same place. And then while that is going, I'm just going to keep weeding these snowflakes. They are coming like, they did cut and everything. It's not like they didn't cut. It could just also be the material I'm using. I've never used this Hobby Lobby vinyl before, so that could also be part of it, that it's not coming quite as easily. But it is cutting, just taking a little bit more love to weed than normal. Alright guys, so we just finished weeding all of our pieces. Some of them I did end up cutting into smaller ones to weed them, but now we are going to go ahead and transfer the names to our cups. And this is a set, so I'm going to for sure demonstrate one quickly and slowly, or sorry, not quickly, slowly to tell you guys how to do it. But then the other ones, I'll kind of go a little bit quicker because it's all the same process and it's really just all the same transferring. So I'm going to go ahead and take my transfer tape, and like I told you, this has a 1/2 inch grid on the back side, and my name is about, I don't know, maybe an inch tall. So I'm just going to do like a 2-inch-ish piece of transfer tape. And I made it about 5 inches wide, so a little bit wider than my design is. And then I'm just going to move these snowflakes to the side, and we will start with Austin. So I just folded a little corner back, and then I'm just going to take off the tape and lay it down, sticking it down in the middle first, and then I'm going to take my scraper tool and just go over the top. I have a little inside of a snowflake lingering. All right, and it came off the transfer tape super nice, so that is always a plus. And then we'll do the red one for Austin. There is a little tiny like ribbed logo down here. You probably can't see it on the camera, but because of that, I'm going to make this the front, and it'll be perfect with the straw like coming out the side. So I'm going to go ahead though and place like 2 circular objects on the side of it, just so that it doesn't roll around a ton. It doesn't need to stay like exactly in place. I just want it to stay somewhat in place. And then I'm just going to do Austin's name, and I'm just going to center it. Actually, I think I'm going to put it up high because I want that big snowflake down here. So I'm going to just put it kind of up towards the top, and it is curving a little bit, so just keep that in mind that it's going to curve. And then I'm just going to flatten that out with my fingers and then pull off my transfer tape. And then my end, since it was curving, it got a little bit of a bubble in it, so I'm just going to lift that up a little bit with my hook tool and just smooth out that bubble and then lay it down. And then there's Austin's. We're going to do all of these different though, so keep that in mind. So then I'm going to do the next name. We're going to do Bennett next, and we're going to reuse our transfer tape, which is something that's super nice. Okay, and then Bennett's, I'm going to center it for this one. So I'm going to find that little logo. Obviously, these like to move around a lot. There we go. And then I'm just going to put it kind of in the middle. And pull that transfer tape off again. So we have 2 names done. And then we're going to do Millie's, which is right here. And then after we do the names, I'm actually going to stand them up to do the snowflakes. I just wanted to lay them down for the names so they're positioned where I want them to be. Millie's, let's do hers centered also. It's a little bit taller. Okay, and now we're ready for our snowflakes. So for our snowflakes, they are not long and skinny like this, they are tall. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a new piece of transfer tape that is like a 3" by 3" square, roughly, because that's how big our biggest snowflake is. So I just want it to be able to cover that. And I actually just guessed. I did not even check technically, so it is like exactly 3 inches by 3 inches. So because of that, because I don't want to get this excess, like this snowflake overlaps, I'm actually going to cut my transfer tape, or my backing sheet, so that I don't have that other snowflake on it. And then I'm just going to fold that corner again, pull it back, and then lay my transfer tape right on top. And then I'm going to go over it exactly like I did with my other ones, with my names. And then this one has a lot of tiny little pieces, so just remember that to go slow as you're pulling your backing off. And then let's go ahead, and I'm just going to take Austin's in my hand, and then I want this snowflake to be like under her name. So I'm just going to, I still want it to be tilted though. So I'm just going to go like that, and place it on there. And then since this is a rounded surface, I'm just going around it little by little with my finger. Usually when I do vinyl, I like press it down from the middle and then go like outward. But since these are all different, I'm not taking that approach with this one. And then I'm going to lift it up and just get any wrinkles out. And we do have one little wrinkle right here. So I'm actually just going to push that to the line. And you can really hardly even see it like that. So now we're just going to kind of speed it up and go put all the other snowflakes on. And I've used the exact same piece of transfer tape for all of these. So keep that in mind. You can just use one piece of transfer tape. And I did them all differently, so you could have 3 kind of different stylistic examples if you want. So this one, the pink one, I did them more kind of spread out, and I actually am not going all the way around. I left the back a little bit blank, but they're just kind of like, here, I'll show you when they're all together so you can get a better idea of what I mean. So I'm just going to screw this lid on. Alright guys, so here are our 3 Christmas light tumblers. They're all a little bit different. Some of them are more spread out, some of them are close together, and I wanted to do them all differently to show you kind of 3 different options so that you guys could see how they look all together. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. It's been so much fun to make these. I will say, if you're making a set, be prepared to weed all of those snowflakes because they took me a while. But if you're just making one, or if you are making a set, maybe plan on just putting one snowflake on each one. Or if you don't mind weeding like me, go ahead and do all of them. But thank you guys so much for joining us today. Make sure to tune in for more tutorials with your new silhouette machine or whatever silhouette machine you have. And we're super excited to always have you crafting with us. Thanks. See you next time.